I'm going to talk about three different ways in which you could save money to help pay for your child's education. And then talk about what are the advantages and the disadvantages of each. And let's start with the simplest, which is you're just saving money in addition to whatever you're contributing to a 401k or a 403b plan. And you've built up a certain amount of assets. And those assets can be used for either your retirement in the long run or helping to pay for college. The advantage of doing that is flexibility and ease. There's no additional accounts. There's no restrictions on how you use the money. The disadvantage is there's absolutely no tax advantages to what you're doing. And so you're leaving some money on the table if you took a different way of doing it. Another way that people have historically helped to pay for college, you're using the Uniform Gifts to Minors Act, or an UTMA account, in which money is gifted to a child when they're relatively young, and then they kind of try to use that money for paying for college later on. The problem is that if a fair amount of money ends out in that account over time, is that, your child turns 18 in some states, 21 in other states, and that's all their money. And so, if you end up with a couple $100,000 in there, wow, the interest in going to college might suddenly wane a little bit, or the interest in buying a very expensive car suddenly goes way up. So those aren't really the best ways to try and save for college, because while it's at least getting assets out of your estate, it doesn't take care of ensuring that some money goes to college. To offset all of those, there's the 529 plans or Coverdell plans. The advantage of either one of those is that that's money that's earmarked for education spending. It's also out of your estate were you to pass away prior and you have an estate tax issue. And yet it's only can be used for education is really at the full use of the beneficiary of the child. So it's got those advantages. The one disadvantage, and there's also, by the way, tax savings, both Coverdell and 529 plans, you don't pay tax on the appreciation or when you take the assets out. That can be a major tax advantage. The one problem is that they can mainly be used only for education expenses. And so if your child or grandchild doesn't go to college, then yes, you could roll some of it into a Roth. That's a little bit of a more complicated with some tight limits without paying a penalty. So tax advantages, there's pros and cons of all of those different approaches. A lot of the choice comes down to what makes the most sense for your family. What are you trying to accomplish? And what's most impactful for taking care of helping paying for college expenses.